Hey painters, we're back. So, as promised in my last video, and as I've shown building in another previous video, the first canvas that I built, I brought a couple paintings out just to show before I start working on a painting. And yeah, as you can see, featured in this painting, actually, girl, don't show that on the internet, is my cat French Toast. She is awesome. I love painting her. She's actually in my most recent one that I'm working on right now. I'm just excited to get to share them because I haven't shared them here, and some of you might not have seen it before. I'm really proud of it. So here it is, and I'll show the back actually, because I also did a little more work on getting the framing set up, and so I can show you how I did that, in case you've never framed a painting before, because this was my first time as well. And the back is just painted green and yellow because I had a green and yellow tube of acrylic paint that was like, it had a hole in it, so I had to use it up, and it helps tighten the back. It just worked out that way. So I kind of have my phone sitting on a wonky little setup today, so sorry if the footage slides down a little bit. I have this framing, what is this called? The little, I think an O-hook? I'm not sure, and then just some hanging wire. And this painting is about 5-6 pounds. So this is kind of standard how I have it set up on the back here. What we did was we took a hammer, me and my teacher, you put this little, I'm pretty sure it's called an O-ring, but I could be wrong. Regardless, they look exactly like this with like a screw base, and first you hammer just a regular nail to create the hole, and then you twirl this in by hand, and when you get to the very last bit, you're going to want to tighten it with a pencil or a pen and just like really get it taut. The wire, you know, it should be the length of the painting plus about maybe 10-15 inches. Once you put one of the sides in, you're going to get the other side secure, and then you go back to both and you wrap the wire around itself in such a way that it's going to hold with a little bit of give, and that's going to make it lay flat against the wall. It did for the show. It looked awesome. I had this painting hanging in the gallery. They were nice. I didn't even notice that they left the little name slip in there, but yeah, that's the name of it. Feet French Toast. That's my baby's name. Oil on canvas, not for sale, because I don't sell my stuff. My art is for myself, so unless, you know, I do a commission or something for someone someday, I don't intend to sell any of my paintings that I make for me. That's just my personal preference. Okay. And let's see, I also entered this one in the show, didn't get in, probably just, you know, I can see why she didn't get in, but I'm still very proud of this painting, and I'm going to show it anyway. So why did I want them both? Because I wanted to be like Goya. I thought it would be cool. Goya has two paintings. One is called the Nude Maha, and the Clothed, it stands for woman, and he had them displayed right next to each other. Just, if you haven't seen that painting set before, you should definitely look it up. They're very cool. But that's kind of, they have the same pose because, you know, like I was saying, like a lot of my paintings tend to look similar just due to my mirror setup and how it's easy for me to paint from life. I've painted both of these from life. I was very proud of this one because this one took a lot of work, but this one took even more work. This is an acrylic masterpiece, and this is oil. So this was when I was still learning, and I did not have any life drawing classes, and I've never truly painted a portrait of myself. So I was very proud when she came out, and you know, I got that, you know, ignore my squeaky, let me take these squeaky shoes off before they keep making noise. Okay. But yeah, they were like, that sfumato is convincing, girl, in acrylic. And you know, it was really difficult, and this took me about like I want to say like 40 hours. And there was a day I just worked for like 12 hours uninterrupted, like right before it was due. And I've never painted like that before. And she literally like took my breath away. Like I had it like just facing my bed, and she just watched me sleep the night before I turned her in. I only slept for like 3 hours. I woke up. I brought the painting to school. You know, I got my critique. The assignment was a self-portrait. So yeah, she was like, you could do it however you please. And I was like, I'm gonna do it like that. I was actually inspired by there is a painting that I will link in the comments because I cannot remember the name of it. I know exactly what it looks like, but I can't remember the name. But it was of this woman, and she was painting herself, painting a nude model from life, because that wasn't allowed or encouraged for women at the time. So her doing that was like, it was definitely a power move. And I was like, yeah, I want to make something like that, but I also want it to be of me, because I didn't have a model. Obviously, I was just, you know, a regular painting student, and what better way to learn from life than to do it yourself? Like, why would you, you know, I feel like all these paintings that are so controversial, like, for example, my Olympia, so controversial, but it's not like the painter actually was that person. Like, they're using another woman. I was like, I'm using myself. So that's true, like, controversy or whatever, you know, like I'm putting myself out there. I'm not Manet painting Olympia and, oh, she's controversial, whatever, you know. It's not like he had to actually be in her shoes. So that's a little bit of my artistic, like, decision in that way, because I do tend to paint myself in the nude a lot, not naked. This painting actually is going to be the first one where she's going to be naked. All the other paintings I have made were nudes, and there is a distinction in the art world. So yeah, I really wanted this one in the show, and I'm glad I entered her, because my teacher told me to enter her, and I had other works that would have gotten in, and I would have been proud of them still being in, but the fact that she told me to enter this one because it was so close to my heart, I'm glad she got rejected, honestly, because like a lot of great art that I love and admire has been rejected. For example, the James McNeill Whistler, the Girl in White, Symphony in White, that's one of the most beautiful paintings in my opinion. If you go on Wikipedia, look up that painting, it looks great, right? But when you zoom in and they let you see like the scanned image of it, she has one of the most intoxicating like looks about her face. Like her eye, like she looks like so, like she's not a painting, like she is real, like she is a spirit. And I feel like, you know, if a painting like that was rejected, like people have no taste. And like that's how I feel about my girl here, you know, because this one, it really, just how it was built really shows a lot of my growth. For example, let me turn her around. This was the first one that I had built, and I built this because I felt overwhelmed because I couldn't afford a larger canvas at the time, and I really wanted to make a big painting. I felt like stuck making small paintings. I was like, I don't really like making small paintings. And I mean, I obviously still will. I'm really challenging myself on this one to put a lot of detail into something small and just challenging myself to wait. But this one, oh, I didn't know I put the finish date. Finished 11/20/2024. That's cool. Yeah, I just felt like overwhelmed that I couldn't afford it and that I really just wanted to make it. So this one, I invented this method for her, and specifically for her because I wanted to be able to fit in the frame, so I made it just about my size. These were the only canvases I had, and I was like, I don't want to do a portrait so small, you know. And pardon, there's some cat activity, so pardon hearing that. But yeah, that's how I developed this method, and honestly, it only cost me about like $20 to buy, not even, to buy all the glue and the zip ties and like the super fabric glue that I used at the seams. I'm just so proud that like I made something like this, you know. I'm just glad I entered her, because this painting means more than all the others. And it's really a true representation of myself. And why is she pink? Great question. She's the reason for the season. She's the reason why everything is pink. When I was painting her, I didn't know how to mix colors very well. My acrylics, I only had few. I had few acrylics. I only had a selection of pinks. Very just basic. The Liquitex, the basic. I had a magenta. I had a cadmium red light. That's where it started, my love of cadmium red light, magenta, and just yellow, you know, and then the basic. And then I made the rest of the paintings with these basic, and this is probably still the same one I used, like literally the little dollar acrylics. Oh, it's kind of empty actually. But yeah, I probably used that one on the background, but this was like right before I had gotten a random scholarship, so I did not have money when I made this painting. I did what I could with what I had, you know. I used mainly makeup brushes, actually, my blush brushes, to achieve that like smoky blended out look. Like she really, like I wanted to make a Renaissance painting like I loved, but I didn't know that. I just needed like I just needed more skill. I needed more. She's very mannerist looking, so I do like that about her. I probably would never make another painting quite like her again. Like even the piercings, like the addition of that, like I feel like my teacher, you know, she put on her glasses to look at these piercings, so that was a compliment to me, because I had practiced drawing and painting piercings for a lot of like my youth, like just, well, not painting, mainly drawing. Like I would copy like the little piercing charts from the tattoo shops. Like some of my like most detailed drawings from my youth were of piercings, ears, nose, mouth, all separate though. So this was like, it was very challenging. I also had trouble with the lighting in my room. I was mainly painting at night. That's just when I would get home, have the time for it. You know, this mirror here, this little skinny mirror that I'm using today on my portraits, you know, that's what I had. So I had to fit myself within that little frame. As you can see, her arm is raised because I was not getting good lighting. I had to hold a lamp up above my head just to try to get, you know, a better effect. She also, you know, I like that she looks like she's raising her hand, like she's about to speak, like she has something to say. I feel like she's very innocent and very like curious, and she's like just reaching out into existence, versus my unexpectedly just nasty girl. She is nasty in the likeness of the James McNeill Whistler, the Symphony in White. Like that painting is of his mistress in a white dress, and he has her portrayed as like this innocent virgin, and that's why it was like pretty controversial at the time. You know, the Cecilia Beau, Sita and Sarita, I did copy, you know, her having the cat up there and having a dress. I made my own dress, but, you know, and the little cushion, I made my own. But this was a assignment, you know, it was a painting in the style of a master, so I copied her style. How she uses color, how she has a sitting or just a focused, like a glare. I'm really proud of the face, but now having more knowledge of the portrait, I understand she's not completely perfect. She needs a little more mass here. And the mouth is a little stiff, but the eyes I am proud of because they look kind of like the McNeill Whistlers. How they're just like, they kind of look like they're about to cry. And she kind of looks a little upset, like you're walking in and like you're interrupting her perhaps, because she's playing with her pussy and she is so virginal, but she's not innocent, you know. She's got a lot more. And that's why I was surprised when they put this one on the wall, because I was like, you don't want my beautiful, you know, innocent, you know, just nude. you want this freak with her pussy out on the wall and her fingers. We needn't get into that, but I just, you know, and I have the piercing inclusion because I decided to start putting that in, and look how it looks, like just that little peeking out. It looks so good. One of my classmates told me that another one of my classmates went up and saw this painting with him and that it did not look like me. And I don't know, girl, I think they were just trying to get to me because this painting looks so freaking good. Like, nobody can tell me that doesn't look like me. She is pinker though. Like, this lighting, I swear, like the lighting in my house sucks, but as you can see, she is pinker than my skin tone, and that is an ode to her because she is the reason for this season. I just like kind of painting myself like that now because I feel like being racially neutral is kind of like, I don't know. I didn't know of my ethnicity growing up. It kind of was like not really something that was given to me. I wanted to learn Spanish. I didn't get to. I'm learning on my own now. It's very hard, but I'm getting there. But I never felt like I quite had like a set identity. And I used to honestly, like, you know, get bullied a lot about it too. Like, I don't want to get all into that, but you know, it was a part of me that like I wished I had like an identity. So creating one for myself, and somehow she's turning out pink. And I didn't even think I could like the color pink growing up. There was just, you know, some little rude girlies that would bully me and they liked the color pink. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a purple girl. Maybe that's kind of manifesting here. But yeah, I feel like the pink kind of is like, it has like an attitude. And also there was this artist that, it didn't come before my first pink painting, but like I saw it after and I was inspired by her, and I was like, okay, coffee break because I'm talking fast. But yeah, it was this Indian artist, and she had, forgive me if it was Indian or Arabian, I'm not sure the exact area, I'm so sorry, but she had this pink logo of this woman with these brass knuckles, and they said boom on them. And if you look up like pink brass knuckles like icon, I'm not sure, I'm sure you could find it though. And it was supposed to be like a sign of female empowerment. There was a case about rape, and she wanted to create a symbol about, like, inspired by that, like, to take the power back and to give the power to that woman in that case, like giving all women, a symbol that they can be united and stand together and like have this pink icon that like they could all just share and remind them that they're not alone. So I really have just like been like, okay, maybe I can take like the energy of that and like kind of give a voice to women in art. Also, just forgot to mention the inclusion of this cat. Cecilia Bow at the time, they were not supposed to paint. Women were allowed to paint certain things to be accepted into like the salon and stuff. They were not allowed to paint like men were, and be accepted anyway. I'm sure there were plenty of women doing things, on the down low. But yeah, the Olympia cat she had seen in the painting, and this was kind of like a little ode to that. So she still, had that little femme fatale kind of moment, even though it was hidden in a painting that seemed oh so just soft and delicate and very inconspicuous, and I really thought that was cool. And so in my Olympia, kind of taking her power back, because if you know of the original one, maybe you don't, it's okay, I will teach you. But if you do, she has that, she has her servant in the middle. I didn't like that, so I just completely got rid of her and I put this vase over here of the flowers that the servant originally had in the Olympia painting. She just left behind the flowers in this painting. There is no servant element at all. The orchid she wears in her hair, I took that off. You can read that now as just a little painting of an orchid, and the little pearl earrings also signify like a prostitute. I also removed those for her, so she's not wearing them in my painting. I took the cat. Let me see if I got it in. The cat, I included, you know, it looks a lot like my my beautiful French toast. And I kind of made her a small little kitten instead, you know, like to show like new life, you know. And she's also tame. In the original Olympia, the cat is on end, like she's in shock. In the Olympia herself is also like in a pose where she's like disgusted and like, you know, just trying to show that she's displeased, whether you interpret it as she's seeing her viewer, her customer for the first time, or whether he's just, you know, finished and he's leaving. Regardless, she has like a very guarded pose. She has her hand over her lap, you know, like, get away from me, you know. She's got her hair still pinned up, so obviously it wasn't that good if his hair was, you know, her hair wasn't messed up all like that. So she's just like very pushed away. And versus mine, you know, she's very inviting. It's probably going to be the last thing I paint, honestly, just because it's going to go over the skin and I have to finish the skin still. But I have a little bit of motion happening here where she's going to be taking off her necktie, which symbolizes she is a prostitute. And she is going to be letting her love into the room. She's going to be looking out at the viewer, which will be us, anyone looking at the painting. But she will finally be happy, and like as she's taking off her necktie, she is becoming pink. She is becoming a new version of herself that is actually happy. I also gave her some books because she's an educated queen. Like she, you know, she's not just a prostitute. She is her own person and she's happy. And I kind of like the idea of just like, I guess, saving her a little bit, you know? So I'm gonna work on her just a touch more. Honestly, I wasn't gonna work on her too much. I mainly wanted to make this video talking about my art. I can show you also progress. I don't know now if I want to work on her because I just did last night. And it still could, if it, as you can see, it's a little, it is shiny. That Galkit gets it drying, like Galkit light. I still have to try like the other mediums, but as you can see, there's still a little bit like too much shininess on there. Pardon if you hear any like kids outside playing. Don't know why they do that. But yeah, I worked on her a bit more. Mainly on my face. I got rid of the ear because it wasn't working anymore, and when in doubt, paint it out. Like, I'm not going to keep fudging to fix my ear if it's not working out. Like, I'd rather just chop it off. And I'm so sorry I had to Van Gogh her, but yeah, it wasn't working at the angle. It was like all the way over here, and I'm like, well, the lesser of two evils. Would I rather change where the neck and the chest and the entire head sit, or would I rather cut out that ear? You know, what's going to be easier? So sometimes when you're painting, you just have to make a big girl decision, and even if it's going to be painful, like, oh, I spent so long working on that, it wasn't working anymore, so just get rid of it. And that should go for a lot of aspects of your life. Pardon my sniffly nose, by the way. I'm feeling like a million times better today, but there's just that residual, like, little annoyance, so I'm sorry you guys have to hear that like one more time. Let me see. So we've got the girl, you know, I've got more of her general shape in her head. Like, looking at it on camera, it is giving like a peanut shape a little bit too much. So I'm going to cut down a little bit more of that fabric. Like I said, I'd rather paint more and then just chop off what I need versus trying to add more of the, like if I tried to add more of this, I would have to like try to mimic all those underlying tones. And to be honest, I don't even know if she's going to stay blue anymore. I don't know. Because I'm thinking about her, right, girl? I don't know. Because what if she wanted to be pink too? You know, so I might have to work on this one a little more in private. I kind of don't, like I had a lot easier time going back in and working on her when I was just like completely still, and I'm not even gonna lie. I had put Vaseline or petroleum jelly, I'm not trying to get like legal troubles, petroleum jelly all over the tops of my cheeks, the tip of my nose, my... I gotta do an eyebrow tutorial one day. But yeah, I basically put petroleum jelly all over my face so I could see the highlights in every little crease of my face. And why did it help so much? And I just sat still for like an hour and a half and I locked in on this. Like, yeah, that's about how much more time I gave to it just since the last video. So, and that creepy skeleton that you saw from the last time. Oh no, I worked on it one more time after that. And I just deepened out the skeleton part a little more. But then there was, about 2 days ago, I worked on this. And, let me see the dryness. I would give it one more day before I felt like super comfortable working on it. But I could work on it today, I'm not sure. I'd rather just, like I said, take all year and finish it versus rush and be like 80% pleased. I'd rather be 110% pleased. But, yeah, I don't know. This might be the last time we see our girl be blue, so, you know, enjoy it. Because I've been thinking about it, and I was like, well, I still want the Vermeer, right? But I don't see why. Maybe she wants to be pink, too. Maybe she feels trapped being blue. Everyone makes her blue. Blue is a sad color. So, let's hang it back up. And I don't know if I wanted to add, there was part of me, by the way, just super quick, I just have to wipe my nose, but yeah, I don't know if I want to include, like, just the additional element of, like, I don't know if I want to give her a little piece of red hair. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure at this point. But oh, pardon me. Having a snuffle nose is like it's akin to living in hell, I would say. But yeah, I just don't know. All I know is that she's looking good so far. I'm still gonna work on like using a reference and everything. I still think she has a ways to go, like her general shape. It does help to have to flip this painting around so much too, because I get to see like, is it really working or not? Because even right now, doesn't she look like a little bit too big compared to mine? Like I was looking at the older pictures and that I've taken of it just steps and steps ago, months and months ago, and they were honestly almost touching like in the center. That's how close they were, and they just gradually like sunk into where I believe they should be. Like even her hair dress, I had a lot more of the back part of it action, but that ended up getting replaced because, like I said, lesser of two evils. Is it going to be easier to try to incorporate more of her headdress and make it look like the original, more of her shoulder, versus just, you know, because I even considered like having more of my chest out and stuff, you know, like being lifted up further. But yeah, that they're just sinking exactly where they want to be, and I'm not gonna like disturb them, you know. And so I got a grease plate here. I just squirted out a little more Gelcadlate. I've kind of been eating it up. Like, this is, you know, just this year I've bought this. When did I start oil painting? It was probably in like March. It had to have been February or March. It was not in January. I think it was in March. But yeah, I've gone through this much. Excuse me. I've gone through a lot of Gamsol. Mainly, for the underpaintings portion. But you see what I mean? Like, doesn't it look like she should have a little curl of maybe red hair? I don't know. It's not like I want to make her me, but I did want to, like, paint myself twice in a single painting, and I wasn't sure, like, when or how I was gonna do that. Like, I've tried, and, like, I've also failed. Like, one of my past paintings was supposed to have 2 versions of me, and then another one. Even this one. This is a wrapped canvas because I was failing so hard that I just didn't even want to paint on that same canvas anymore. Plus, I didn't like the texture of that store-bought canvas. This is like the last one I bought from the store. It's like one of those nice thick ones. But I was not messing with that canvas so much that I literally just was like, I'm just going to completely make anew this piece. And now I'm liking it, so it was not in vain. And I had extra canvas to spare at the time. Now I do not. I have some smaller pieces, but nothing big like that. That was like a nice textured canvas. It was that unprimed duck. I can't remember every detail. I have the bag somewhere. It's in my the video where I make this canvas. All the details are in that one. But yeah, so when in doubt, like, just stop what you're doing and completely cover it up. Yeah, if you're not feeling like the vibes of a canvas, you shouldn't keep working on it. Sometimes it might have too many colors that are just interrupting what you want. Like, the vibe I wanted for this one, like, I wanted to tone it in blue. Like, you want to tone a certain color because the Root for Gold experiment, like I might have mentioned before, but like just how everything is see-through. You can see through oil paints, the translucency of them when you play around with the layers. Like, it really tricks your eye. When you have a color underneath that you might not have liked, it'll show. It might even just show in your frustrations, like in the way you aren't able to finish it the way you want to. Like, there's been many a canvas actually that I really like that I maybe I'll go grab it if you guys don't mind waiting like 15 seconds, because it's right there in my living room. I keep all of my paintings in an old fish tank in a stack. I need to explain it more. But this is one of my favorite paintings, my abstract ones, my diptych. We were to make a diptych, and I was not feeling this painting. I made it multiple times before I got frustrated. And I did the same thing, and I wrapped the old canvas. And yeah, it's meant to go every which way, so I'll just keep moving it as I talk. But yeah, this is deconstructed me. Like, this is supposed to be the elements of my body, my insides, my thoughts, my toes, my life, my piercings, my hair. It's my hair on a good day, like when I fresh dyed it. Like, this is, you know, we were to add texture, and it was supposed to be non-objective abstraction, so you're not supposed to be able to tell what everything is, hence only the 4 toes. Like, I cheated out of a little bit of it, but yeah, just like nostrils, veins, hairs. Like, I was like, yeah. And the reason I was able to make this was because I completely started over. At first I had it toned in blue. It wasn't working out, and part of the assignment was to have a toned canvas to work on, like not just starting it in white like we were doing prior to that. So yeah, no, I always tone my canvases anyway, but this one I particularly toned in this bright, cheap, same old one of these. It was literally just called red or bright red. And that color is like hot, it's like beaming through. And you can still see that bit of acrylic through with the oil. All the elements are oil, but the base was the acrylic. And that was mainly because I did this in like a rush in one night, and I would not have had time if I did the toning first in oil. Pardon, I thought I was feeling a lot better, but my body is betraying me right now. So I might cut this video in a minute. But yeah, the back. And I just snuck a nude in there. Yeah, I'm about to cut the video. But yeah, they work from the sides. Like I added, you know, enough texture to keep it balanced. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap it up, you guys. Because I'm not about to, I can sniffle, but coughing, it's it's not gonna be a good video. Another abstract nude, but yeah, let me cut that here. So basically this has not been a painting video, this has been a video of me just explaining stuff, which is okay, because in the next one I promise I'll strictly paint and try not to get distracted. So yeah, I love this one, so I'm glad I whipped it back out, because you know, it just shows that, you know, it's not all about realism. You can do real stuff in abstract too, and abstract has been my first love, so this was like a game, it was a game. It was, you know, one of the best crafts of my life. Like I really love this one. My teacher was shook, and she actually was sick the day we did our critique, and you didn't get to see it the first time in person and hear my explanation. But this is basically me if I was a painting and I was a doll and I was just torn apart and I was something you could just play with, you know, and I wasn't real. Because maybe that's what society thinks of women. I've been reading a lot of feminist literature. I'm currently on the feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan. That one's been pretty good so far. So, but yeah, this vindication of the rights of women. I'm getting it all in there. I'm gonna be like not just creating art, but like having a strong feminist message in my art, and I feel like that's what makes it really important to me. This is not just art anymore, like this is me. Bye guys, happy painting. You know, get into it, leave me anything you want to comment below. Oh my god, I have to re-dye my hair, so don't. I thought it was okay, but I feel like this painting is like the standard, you know? I gotta like get back to matching, just not like taking my online classes and stuff. I feel like such a hermit, and I have to get back out there. Like I've tried with the nail polish, but it's not the same. I need to be, the redder the better. So hopefully I'm more red in the next video. Hopefully I'm not sick so I can feel like I want to paint for you guys. So this was a fun little chat, and keep painting. Love you all. Bye.